Imagine working a stressful shift at your retail job when suddenly your dad walks in with a shopping cart full of stuff. Then, in front of a line of customers, he demands you give him your employee discount and insists he deserves it because he raised you. What happened next turned a normal workday into a public disaster. I'm 24 years old and work at a small home goods store in a shopping center. It's a pretty normal retail job, until the day my dad decided my employee discount was somehow part of his parenting rewards. The store I work at sells pretty typical home goods. Candles, towels, kitchen organizers, storage bins, decorative pillows. Basically the kind of stuff people buy when they're trying to make their homes look a little nicer. It's not exactly the most exciting job in the world, but it pays the bills. And honestly, my coworkers are decent, which makes a huge difference in retail. One of the only perks we get is an employee discount. It's not huge, but it helps. If you need something from the store, getting a discount makes it feel slightly less painful to buy things you see every day on the shelves. But there's one very clear rule about it. The discount is for employees only. Not friends. Not family. Not your neighbor. And definitely not parents. They actually explain this multiple times during training. If someone misuses the employee discount, you can get written up or even fired. So it's not something anyone at the store takes lightly. And normally, it's never been an issue for me. But that changed last Saturday. It was already shaping up to be a long day. We were short-staffed. 2 employees had called out sick. And somehow the store was packed with people buying random spring decorations. Fake plants. Pastel table runners. Outdoor cushions. All the seasonal stuff that suddenly appears in stores the moment winter ends. By noon, the checkout line was already getting long. And I was trying to move people through as quickly as possible. That's when something unexpected happened. My dad walked into the store. Now that might not sound strange at first, but it was weird for one simple reason. He had never once come to visit me at work before. Not in the entire year I'd been working there. Not even just to say hi. So seeing him suddenly walk through the door felt unusual. But that wasn't even the strangest part. Because he wasn't just browsing. He was pushing one of those big rolling shopping baskets. And it was completely full. Kitchen organizers. A table lamp. 2 patio chair cushions. A few smaller things stacked on top. And he looked way too pleased with himself. At first I thought maybe he just needed some things for the house. No big deal. Customers shop there every day. But something about the way he was smiling made me uneasy. And that's when the situation started to feel strange. Instead of going to another register, he walked straight to my line. Which immediately made me nervous. Because most employees try to avoid ringing up their own family members. Even when it's technically allowed. It just creates awkward situations. But the store was busy. And my line was the shortest. So he stood there waiting while I checked out the customers ahead of him. Eventually he reached the front. I greeted him the same way I greet every customer. "Hi, how are you today?" He didn't answer. He just started placing his items on the counter. One by one. Kitchen organizers. The patio cushions. Then he leaned casually against the counter while I scanned everything. And I remember thinking, this felt weirdly staged. Like he was waiting for something. When I finished scanning everything, I told him the total. And that's when he said it. Loud enough for the entire line to hear. "Go ahead and put your discount on it." For a second, I honestly thought he was joking. So I laughed a little and said, "I can't do that." I assumed that would be the end of it. But instead, he stared at me. Like I had just said something ridiculous. Then he said something I didn't expect at all. "I paid for your food for 18 years. I think I qualify." The people in line behind him went quiet. And suddenly I felt every pair of eyes at the register turn toward us. I tried to keep my voice calm. I explained that the employee discount is tied directly to my employee account, and that we're not allowed to use it for other people. It's a pretty strict rule. We can get written up for it, or worse. But instead of understanding, he got annoyed. And that's when things started to get worse. Right there at the register, he started arguing with me, in front of the entire line. He said this was exactly what was wrong with people my age. Apparently we care more about rules than family. He said any decent daughter would give a little back. I felt my face turning red, not just because he was upset, but because he was doing it loudly, with customers standing a few feet away, waiting to check out. I tried explaining again that I literally could not apply the discount, even if I wanted to, but that didn't calm him down. If anything, it made him more irritated. And that's when the situation completely changed. He started raising his voice, talking about how ungrateful kids are these days, how parents sacrifice everything, and how this was apparently the least I could do for him. At this point the line wasn't moving. People were staring. Some looked uncomfortable. Some looked curious. And honestly, I just wanted the moment to end. That's when my manager noticed something was wrong. She walked over to the register to see what was happening. And things got even more awkward, because my dad immediately started explaining the situation to her. Except not in a normal way. He told her she should be grateful parents raise the workers who keep her store running. I honestly wanted the floor to swallow me. My manager stayed calm. She politely explained that employee discounts can't be used by family members, which was exactly what I had already said. But apparently hearing it from management didn't help, because he turned back to me and asked something that completely stunned me. He asked for my employee number. He said he would just handle it himself next time. And that's when I realized he genuinely thought this was some kind of loophole. Like the discount was a code he could use whenever he wanted. But what happened next shocked everyone. At that point my manager stepped in firmly. She told him that employee account numbers are private and cannot be shared, and that attempting to use someone else's employee discount could lead to disciplinary action. For the employee, meaning me, that's when my dad finally realized this wasn't going to work. He stood there silently for a moment. Then he grabbed the items off the counter, put them back into the basket, and walked out of the store without buying anything. No apology. No goodbye. Just left. And the moment the door closed, the entire line started moving again like nothing had happened. But I was still standing there feeling completely embarrassed. Later that evening, I got a text from him. He said I embarrassed him over something small. Apparently, in his mind, using the employee discount once wouldn't have been a big deal. He still thinks I chose store policy over family. Then my mom called. And surprisingly, she took his side. She told me I could have just used the discount once to keep the peace. That sometimes it's easier to avoid conflict. Maybe she's right in a way. Maybe the argument would have been avoided. But the problem is, it wasn't just a small favor. It was my job. And risking your job to give someone a discount doesn't really seem reasonable, even if that someone is your parent. So now things are a little awkward between us. But honestly, I still don't think I did anything wrong. So now I'm curious what other people think. If your parent demanded you use your employee discount for them, even though it could get you in trouble at work, what would you do? Would you risk it to keep the peace? Or would you stick to the rules like I did? Let me know what you think in the comments.